Welcome to C Programming Tutorials. This is a production of YouTube channel Learnorama and the Facebook page Awesome C Programming Tutorials in High Def. If you haven't subscribed to those channels, this channel, I would recommend that you do so, and if you haven't become the fan of the Facebook page, I would recommend that you do so as well. And I would also appreciate if you could send me, if you put some comments out there to give me some feedback as to how you're liking those tutorials or not liking the tutorials. And I also thank everyone who has actually left their comments appreciating these tutorials. I really get my encouragement from those comments, and makes me gives me an incentive to continue to post the tutorials. Anyway, so I almost finished the previous tutorial, this topic in the previous tutorial, but I just finished very abruptly, and I thought that I did not do a very good justice to this second method of passing arrays as a parameter to function. So real quick, I'll basically cover this in this tutorial. Okay, it's going to be a very short video. So what we were seeing is basically you could basically declare pointers in the parameters list, or argument list in this function. And then you could pass the entire array as well. And I was basically showing before, and let me draw it on the on here before I lose it one more time. So what we are saying is basically days now is a pointer, not the array itself. Okay, so instead of the whole array, days is actually just a pointer. Okay, and this is how we represent a pointer, right? And when this function is called, we basically pass the address of this array and days to this pointer. So this pointer gets the value of this address. And remember, the name of the array is actually an address itself. So this guy gets the value of the address or the first location of this array. So it actually ends up in pointing to that array. Okay, like something like this. Okay, this is our n days array, this array, and it has all those elements, all those 12 elements here, and this pointer days is now pointing to the first element here. Okay, and we learned when we were studying about pointers before, not with the context of functions, we're just studying about pointers before, that you could access pointers. You could basically assign a pointer to an array, or assign an address, make a pointer point to the beginning of the array, and then use that pointer just like you would use an array. So you could have an index like this, and you could do that also. So this will basically make it point here first, and as the value of index changes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will basically keep on moving this pointer to point here, and then to here, and then to here, and so on. Okay, and you will be accessing those elements here and summing it up. The other way of accessing the elements pointed to by a pointer is basically using a notation like this, where you actually add the index to the address pointed to by this the pointer itself. So the pointer remains at the same location. It basically remains pointed here, but the offset, this index, keeps on getting incremented, keeps on getting added into days, and you end up in accessing this element, and then this element, and then this element, and so on to this element. And so this is also another way of accessing an array, and using pointer. And we learned about this, we briefly talked about this in the previous tutorial when we were talking about the pointers. If you haven't watched that tutorial, please do so. And if you just want to revise it, you should do that also. Okay, and this whole thing is perfectly okay, and this whole thing should result in the same result as before. So let's real quick try it out. So I'm compiling, I run it. This program compiles fine, and it runs, and it results in 365 days. So all this is perfectly okay and normal. So I'm going to conclude this. I mean, I'm sorry this tutorial has become pretty long. It is now on 4 different parts, which is pretty long. 4 or 5, actually 5 parts. Yes. Anyway, as always, I really appreciate if you have any comments or any question or something that you want to ask me. I'll try to answer those questions. Please feel free to leave the comments in the video pages on YouTube or on Facebook if you want to. Thank you so much.